Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you a book unhaul and this is my first ever unhaul video. I have unhauled some of my books before but I've not unhauled them in bulk as I'm doing right now. And the main reason why I'm doing this unhaul is because I've acquired a lot of new books very recently and I'm completely running out of shelf space. Just because I'm unhauling these books doesn't mean that I don't like them or I hate them in any way. There are many books in this pile which I just loved reading and enjoyed a lot spending my time with them. But I don't think I need to hold on to the physical copies of them anymore because I don't think I'll be reading them further. I'm also donating all these books to my local library because I have not found books like this in my local library when I wanted to find them, and also I had this idea of selling the books on a used book website before, but I changed my mind at last and I'm just going to donate them to the library. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get into the books right away. Remember, most of the books that I'm going to talk about in this video are really good books and I'm not unhauling them because I don't like them. Of these, the first one is P.S. I Love You by Cecilia Ahern. The reason why I'm unhauling this copy is because I have another edition of the book, which is the movie tie-in edition, and that cover speaks a lot more to be compared to this cover, and I was just holding back from giving this book away before because I and my brother first read the story from this copy only, but I don't think I have to hold it on further, so this is the first book that I'm going to unhaul. Next we have a series and it is the Kalki trilogy by Kevin Missel. I'm not going to unhaul this immediately because my brother is currently reading the series and he'll be done with it in a month or two max. I'll be giving it away then. The three books in the series are Dharmayodha Kalki Avatar of Vishnu, Satyayodha Kalki Eye of Brahma, and Mahayodha Kalki Sword of Shiva. I have a review of this entire series in the channel from way back in 2019. I should say that this is a very beginner friendly series, and if you're a person who's looking forward to read some very beginner friendly series, I'd highly suggest you to try this because it is very fast paced, as well as the characters written by the author are really original in their tone. This is suitable for anyone who's 13 and above in age because it is very easily written and action packed completely, so you'll not be bored at all at any point. I'm definitely not going to reread this anytime in the future, so I'm just going to unhaul this now. The next one is a legal thriller and it is The Last Juror by John Grisham. I did not buy this book for myself, I just got it for free for one of my promotion videos last year, and I got a lot more other thriller books also, but when I tried reading this one, it was very boring for me. I tried reading it twice and both of the times I DNF'd it in 2021 itself. Even with the audiobook, I was not able to continue on with this story because I did not feel hooked in any way at all, and it felt like the author was describing a lot of things rather than just focusing on the plot and telling the story as a whole. I know that John Grisham is a very famous thriller author, but I'm not interested in reading this book of his because I've tried twice and it has not interested me in both times, and I also know that there are many people out there who love thrillers and I think it will be suitable for one of them. The next one is Gone Tomorrow by Lee Child. This is also a crime thriller and I received it for free also for one of my promotion videos last year. I tried reading this once this year and I got through 200 pages. Even after that, the thriller did not hook me in any way at all. Okay, the main reason why I read it also up to the 200 page mark is because I had the audiobook for this one and the narrator was kind of good for it. There was nothing which was revealed up to the 200 page mark and I did not feel compelled enough to read the story in any way at all, and the characters are also not that interesting for me. The main character in this one just felt like a very flat out detective and he did not have that many layers up to the 200 page mark that I read, so I'm not interested in reading it. The next one is also a really very famous book and it is a really good book also. I read it last year in April and I loved it so much because most of you guys wanted me to read it and it was completely worth all the time. The reason why I'm giving this away is because I'm not going to reread it anytime in the future, and my brother is also not interested in reading it because he read another book by this author as an audiobook and he did not like the tone of the story. And the book that I'm talking about is 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. I know that the book is awesome in each and every way possible and the writing of the author is very raw and pure in its form. It is also an award-winning book, but I'm definitely sure I'm not going to reread it anytime in the future. The reason why I was holding back to the copy is because I know that I'll be recommending this at some point in the future videos and I wanted to just have a copy of the book so that I can show it in the video. Since I have really less shelf space now, I think it's time to give this away because I'm sure that there will be some person who wants to read this and I just want them to. The next three books are non-fiction and they are by the same author. The author that I am talking about is Bill Bryson. Okay, I read one book by him alone in January and it is A Walk in the Woods. I liked the book as a whole, but there were some issues with the book which I did not agree with in any level at all, and I did not want to judge the entire author based on just his single book, so I just went forward and read another one of his books, which is neither here nor there, and I felt the same issue pertaining in this one also. The issue is that he uses body shaming as a tool for his humor and I did not like it in any way at all. It just made me cringe in multiple instances. I know that he's a very famous author and people like the humorous tone of his books, but I don't like this kind of humor, so I'm not going to read books in which he uses that as a tool for his humor. I was actually very much hyped to read many many books by this author because he has a very long backlist and he has a lot of fans also. So I'm sure that there is something which is good about this books as a whole. But just for the reason that he uses that as a tool for the humor in his books, I'm not interested in reading them, so I'm just going to unhaul these also. The next one is The Sellout by Paul Beatty, which is also a Man Booker Prize winner book. I read this in 2020 and the story of the book is amazing, okay? I just had this one issue with the book, which is the writing of the author. It did not feel convincing in any way at all for me. I just hated the type of writing that the author used for the story as a whole. Here we follow this narrator whose entire town called Dickens has been vanished from the map, and he's trying a lot of things in order to bring back the town into existence, and because of this he uses a lot of different strategies which make him end up in the Supreme Court. It is very comical in its tone, but the way in which the author has written it, I don't like it at all in any way. That's the only reason I'm going to unhaul this book. As a story, it's just amazing and I'm sure that it deserves all the praise that it has, but as a personal preference for me, this writing style was not at all up to my taste in any way at all, so this is definitely getting away from my shelf. Next we have another very famous series, and it is the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. I've read the Hunger Games 2 to 3 years back and I loved it during that time. I like the first book, I love the second book, and I totally despise and hate the third book in each and every way possible. I've talked about the reasons why I hate the third so many times already in the channel, so I don't want to make this video negative in any way. I'm sure that many other people want to read the Hunger Games also, and it is also great for anyone who's a beginner. These books are written with such a great pacing. At the same time, the writing of the author is very awesome. The characters are really desirable, and there will be moments during the entire series where you'll be rooting for one character or the other at all points. Since I'm not going to reread the series anytime in the future, and I also don't like the ending of the series, I'm just going to give this away, and I'm sure there are many people out there who want to read the Hunger Games, and I just hope that someone ends up reading this because of me. Next we have a thriller series, and it is the Millennium Trilogy by Stieg Larsson. I've read the first 2 books in the trilogy alone, and I've not read the last and final book. I have that alone with me, but there are 3 books here because I have 2 copies of the first book. The main character in this one is definitely one of my all-time favorite main characters because she's one of the most strong people that I've ever read so far in my life. I'm not going to reread the series anytime in the future, and I think putting it into the library might help some other people who are trying to get their hands on the series and read it in some way or the other. And I'm also not sure when I'll be reading the final book inside the series. I remember what happened in the first and second books pretty well, so I can just look up for some summaries and then go on to the third book. So as of now, these 3 are going to the library. Next we have another very famous book, and it is It by Stephen King. Okay, I read it 2 to 3 years back, and it took more than 2.5 months to entirely read the book as a whole. I might reread it sometime in the future, but I'm definitely not going to reread it from this copy because you can see, right, the spine is already bent, and I don't like bending my spines in any way. But because of the fact that it is a 1200 page long mammoth, I was not able to read it without bending the spine even the slightest. It is also by far the only Stephen King book which I've ended up finishing, and the storytelling by the author in this one is just awesome. Since I'm not going to reread it from this copy in the future, I'm going to give this also away. Next we have Sycamore Row by John Grisham, which is a sequel to one of his other books. Since I did not like The Last Juror itself, I'm not interested in picking up one of his other books which has not been recommended for me before. It is also a really wonderful copy. I got it for free for one of my promotional videos again in the past, and just because I had it, I thought of reading it sometime in the future, but now I'm definitely not interested in reading it, so this is also going away. Next we have a literary fiction book which is very heartwarming, and it is A Family Christmas by Katie Flynn. I read this last year, that is in 2021, and it was a very surprising read for me because I did not expect a lot from this book because I did not buy it. I just got it for free again. But when I read the book, I was having such a wonderful time, okay? I think I read this book in like 1 or 2 sittings max, and it was just perfect for the mood that I was in particularly. You can read this anytime during the winter or chilly season because it has such a perfect vibe for it. Since I'm not going to reread this one also, I'm just going to give it away. It is again a really great copy. Please don't be misled like me looking at the cover of the book thinking that it's not going to be that great. The cover is horrible, but inside the story is really nice. It is perfectly heartwarming in every way if you ask me, and the children that we follow inside the book are really innocent, and the way in which their characters have been written is very awesome. It pains me a little bit to give away this book, but I don't have enough space and I'm not going to reread it anytime also, so it's better if someone else at least reads it. The next one is a memoir, and it is How Did All This Happen by John Bishop. This is also one book which I just received for free, and I was interested in reading it during that time, but even after 1 year from receiving it, I didn't even make an effort to know who John Bishop is. I think someone else who knows about him might be interested in reading the book, and I'm definitely not going to read it also. The cover of the book is just amazing in each and every way possible. I just like the cover design so much, but I'm not going to read it, so this one is also going away. Next we have a very pioneer fantasy book, and it is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. Okay, this is the copy from which I read The Fellowship of the Ring for the first time, but after reading from this copy, I did not continue on with the series. series at all. I even have my own box set of the series over there, so I don't want this copy anymore. It is very tattered and not that great in condition. It was just like this when I bought it also. I bought this during one of the lock the box sales in the past just in order to fill my box, but I did end up reading from this copy and it was really nice. Since I have that entire box set right now and I've reread it from that copy also again, I'm not going to keep this with myself, and I think someone else who's interested in reading the series can at least benefit from it. Next we have two classics. Of these, the first one is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens and the other one is This Side of Paradise by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I read The Great Gatsby last year and I liked that story very much, but I don't think I'll be reading this anytime in the near future, and I'm not interested that much in reading classics also because it is very difficult for me all the time. I've tried reading classics and I'm not also giving up on reading them in any way. I just don't want to read from these copies because they are very much tattered. I actually got this from one of the blind dates that I had from Bookstore, also again from the lock the box sale, but I'm not interested in reading it. And this copy is like super tattered and the print is very small in size. It will be very hard on my eyes. I don't even know why I picked it up while it had so many issues. So yeah, I'm just going to pass these on. Guys, I'm sorry if the lighting is a bit different because when I started filming the sun was very bright, but now it is completely cloudy, so I just have my artificial lights that are going on. So the next book is Wild Lake by Laura Lippman, which is also a thriller. Okay, you can see this pattern in this video, which just shows that thriller itself is a genre which is just kind of a hit or miss for me, and this was completely a massive miss. I gave it 3 stars. It was not like horrible, but I regret the entire time reading this book because it was not good in any way at all. Again, it's a legal thriller, but the author just spent a lot of time talking about the clothes that the prosecutors were wearing compared to the case in hand, and it was very frustrating for me. I don't want to make this video further negative, so this is also going away. The next one is a novella, and it is The Short Second Life of Brie Banner by Stephanie Meyer, which is a Twilight novella. I have not read Twilight series itself and I am not interested in reading it ever in the future. When I bought this book, I was interested in reading the series, but after that I just went forward and read some things about the series and it just did not feel like a series which I want to read. I might watch the movies sometime in the future, but I'm definitely not going to read the books. Because of all these reasons, this one is also going away. And at last I have 7 books here, which all I got for free during some bookstore sales. I'm not even merely interested in reading them, so they are also just going away. Now the books are Wildfire by Nelson Dimmel, Exposed by Laura Van Wormer, Fine Things by Daniel Steele, A Handful of Ashes by Janet Woods, The Making of Us by Lisa Jewell, A Song for Tomorrow by Alice Peterson, and finally The New Mrs. Clifton by Elizabeth Butchen. So yes guys, those are all the books that I'm unhauling right now, and I think I'll be unhauling some more books towards the end of the year, but I'm not sure about that right now, and by the time you're watching this video, most of these books would have gone. I'm glad that at last I made this decision in order to unhaul all these books which I'm not interested in reading further on, and I'd also suggest some of you guys who are kind of book hoarders like me in order to let go of some books which you will not read, because I think it might help others read also. And if you did like watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.